were you drafted to the war? Why or why not?
I was drafted when my number came up in the lottery through the selective service, and went to Upper Darby for an examination. But at the time I was married and had 2 young children, so they did not draft me. They did gave me a medical, and that was the extent of it. I never got called up.
Then you clearly
Well,
were
women
drafted.
were not drafted at that time, so
Yeah.
no.
What was your life like before the war in terms of job, family life, friends, economic, socially, just the feel of the country overall? How was that before the war? What was it like?
Before the war, I had gone to college on a scholarship from a tree company, Asplin Tree Company, and they were national. They were the biggest company in the country, and I was from the New Jersey area, and went to work in New England with one of their affiliates. There was very little economic change because of the war for me. I worked for this company from 1959 until maybe 68, which was, the Vietnam War was going full bore by 68, and I decided in 68 to go in business for myself. And I don't think the war had a great effect on my economic status one way or the other. I was not working for, armament or helicopter plants or airplane or any military endeavors, so it had no real economic effect on me.
I guess at my age, all my friends were of the age to be drafted, and some joined. I mean, they were all anticipating it, upon graduation from high school, that they were going to be called or they'd sign up and go. As for the economic impact, I don't think anything like that really. I can't think of anything how that affected me.
Did you see that change in your everyday life? Did you see the impacts of the war in your everyday life? And I guess in the way that you felt about the war, did that impact you in your life? And I guess sort of the turmoil that came from the war in the country.
Well, there was a lot of turmoil, but I was not. I did not agree with the way the war was being run. I don't think that we were there to really win the war. I wasn't protesting the government or demonstrating against the war. I thought it was an unjust war by the way they got the conscripts to go over and serve. Certain people were able to get deferments because of the ability to go to school. Other people decided to run away and sit it out in Canada or go overseas. Some people even had political connections and were able to avoid the draft. So the poor folks that didn't have these capabilities were the ones who suffered and had to go over to Vietnam.
It was just heartbreaking to not not hear from the friends for long periods of time. You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know where they were. And it was hard to get word from anybody. So, you know, you're always trying to figure out what was going on. Were they okay? And it was very stressful.
Was there any immediate change, or do you feel like the effects of the war have lingered and are even still lingering today?
Yeah, the people that were strongly against the war developed this cult of permissiveness that I feel sort of eroded the moral fabric of the country. Maybe I was just a little older than some of these protesters, but not by much, maybe 5 years older than the people that were protesting. Their acceptance of drugs was not something that I believed in, and what I perceived as the American dream changed for a lot of people. I thought if you worked hard and had goals, you could attain whatever you wanted to attain. A lot of people sort of gave up, would rather, you know, protest and smoke pot and complain. I think a lot of the American spirit died as a result of the Vietnam War.
Well, I feel bad for when I see, you know, somebody walking down the street with Vietnam War veterans hat on, and a lot of them have been subject to something called Agent Orange, and they're just never seem to recover from the after effects of the war. It's sad, really sad.
Did you feel like the protests helped at all, or that they were just kind of useless? Like how did you view the protests?
Well, look, I sort of believe in the rule of law, and I think that the protests got out of hand. There was, you know, destruction of property and one thing and another. I was not a fan of the protesters, although I'm not backing the war. I found it hard to side with the anarchists.
It just seemed like they demean the guys that, you know, came back or lost their lives, demean the whole purpose of their existence. It wasn't their fault, so it was all political. It wasn't, these kids didn't ask to go over there and fight like that. It was horrible.
Do you think that led to the culture change? Do you think that assisted in the culture change at all? Or was that just another kind of factor there?
I don't think it influenced the people that were protesting and strongly against the war. I don't think were influenced by the news coverage, nor were the people that, the silent majority that just went along with the government program, felt any more endeared to the government because of the news coverage. I don't think it stirred up great patriotic sympathy for the war. It was kind of gory and, I guess, factual, you know, that people were getting maimed and losing their lives over there.
Well, I think it was the government, of course, you know, spouting their political agenda about the whole war, and it's like a no-win situation. And finally, I think people realized that.
There was obviously a lot of negative impact from the war, but overall, how did the war change your life, and was there any positive impact?
I don't think the war really changed my life. In many ways, but it was certainly not a positive impact on me because we were in Vietnam. In summation, my final thoughts are that it was just a terrible waste of life, and the damage that it did do, the overall damage that I feel it did to the country, were changed forever. And a lot of people will say that the best of America has been used, and I'll rest my case with that.
Well, I think I told you I lost a very good friend. I've known several other people that didn't make it back. I know some veterans who can't talk about their experiences or have, side effects from Agent Orange and, what they experienced over there. So, to be honest, I really don't see any positive impact from the whole war.
Well, thank you for your time and for letting me interview you for many, many minutes. Have a nice night.
Okay.
Thank you.